What's up? We're calling it 271. We're calling it episode 271. There was no episode 270. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the math. I'll deal with the math. You just hang out. You'll be fine. There was no show Friday because I had UB wrestling all weekend, and I just couldn't do it. But I just want to walk you through me falling in love with sports again to a certain extent. This whole thing where every time I watch a team and root for it, it wins is a little out of hand right now. And I think we're sharing it. I've got a little bit extra thrown in because of my kids playing sports. But here's what we've been doing. The U.S. won gold in Olympic hockey for the first time in 36 years, right? So that happened, and we were all on board, and one of the Sabre stars is there, and a former Sabre is there, and it was cool. That was really cool. It was really fun. But this is what we do now. We come on the radio, or the show in this case, Riter Radio, on Mondays to talk about hockey from the day before. Like that's new, or that's back, I guess. U.S. wins gold, right, in overtime. This is 2 weeks ago. Since then, the Sabres, from the end of that until my last show on Thursday, the Sabres had come out of the Olympic break 4-0 and charging up the standings, right? So that happened. I did a show on Thursday. Thursday night, I went to a basketball game my son played in. They won. Friday, I went to a baseball game my son played in. They won. Then I came home and watched the U.S. play Brazil in the World Baseball Classic, and they won. And then I watched the Sabres beat the Predators. And then I didn't watch the U.S. against Great Britain in baseball, but I kind of figured that one would be easy, and it was. So they won. And then I went to 3 kid basketball games yesterday, and they won. And then I got home just in time to turn on the hockey game, and wow, that was a thing. That was an event. That was, I can't say out of nowhere because we're up to, I think I missed the Sabres win in there. As I said, 4-0, but they're 5-0. They're at 7. Regardless, intensity, insanity, 15 goals, 5 fights, 102 penalty minutes. Tage Thompson's the 3rd star with 4 assists. Like, it was that kind of night. And, you know, to say hockey's back is an understatement. It's been really, I'm in a very unique position when it comes to this Sabres drought because I was there for the best part and in it every day for the best part. In 05 and 06, I hosted the pre- and post-game shows and intermissions, and I was at all those crazy home games and even the road games I would do from the studio. So, like, I was locked into every minute of what, until now, has been the best era of Sabres hockey of my lifetime. I was born right around, I was 6 months old the first time they were in the Cup Finals back in 75, so I don't have any memory of that. I was working in radio when they went to the Cup Finals in 99. That was very fun, but it did not compare to 05 through 07 when it felt like the Sabres were the best team in the league and they were inevitably going to win the Cup. And they didn't, but those 2 years were unbelievable. And then it just falls off a cliff forever. And the timing of this getting back in to the, I use vibe a lot, but getting us back to where there's a buzz, to where here's a good way to do this. I got home and I watched the Tampa game last week, and that was incredible. It wasn't what yesterday's game was, but it was the Sabres going on the road, having already won their first 2 coming out of the break, and then just stomping Tampa right from the start. They were up 4-0 in the first. Made it 5-0 immediately in the second. And it just felt like, okay, that's a declaration that this isn't some fluky anything. They're going up against the other hottest team. And they beat them handily. And then there were a couple games in between, and we knew Sunday was coming. And in my circle, and I tell the same story very often, but here's the newest version of it. I have not raised my kids to waste their time on what would have been a waste of time until this year of Sabres hockey. So I'm like recruiting. They are, two of the three are like psycho sports fans. One is not, but that's okay. The oldest, he plays basketball. He likes playing basketball, and he likes playing guitar. He's not a sports viewer. He'll go to he's probably been to one Bills game or maybe two. And he'll go to a UB basketball game. Basketball's different for him because he plays it and he's good at it, and so he likes that. But the other guys are like, if it's on TV, we want to watch it. Whether it's baseball or it's football, basketball to a certain extent. They all play basketball. But as far as like, they have been raised by Josh Allen, right? I mean, that's what this era is, what this era has been. We haven't had the time between all the other things that they have to do and all the sports that they play to make watching Sabres games a regular thing. So we get home from basketball, and I'm pumped. And I've been telling my wife about it and telling my kids about it. Like, this game on Sunday is a thing. This is going to be loud. It's going to be packed. They're on this streak. They have a chance to take over first place in the division. It's going to be a thing. So I come home, and I go down in the basement, so I'm not bothering anybody else because they're going to watch whatever they're watching or do whatever they're doing. Turn it on and watch right from the start. And not long into the game, I'm starting to think about recruiting other people to watch it. At some point, about halfway through the first period, I go upstairs and say, hey, we're going to convert. In the second period, I'm moving to the family room. I'm getting out of the basement, going to the family room. Nobody likes to hang. Well, my wife doesn't like to hang out down here. The kids don't mind. By the way, yeah, if you do try to set up your own little thing in the basement, she's not listening. If you try to set up your own thing, make it a little bit dingy. Make it a little bit unpleasant. And you get to keep it. There's no infiltration. Oh, I want to watch a movie on the projector today. That never, ever happens. My wife's never watched a thing down here. We do movie classics. You know, just bust out like, oh, I think today's the day you should learn about Memento, 13-year-old son. And today's the day for Pulp Fiction. We do that kind of stuff down here. Nick just said man cave. Yeah, there is something to preserving. Very little is said about this. I've never heard anybody say this. But you do want to keep the cave aspect a little bit. Like, I do not have a finished basement. I have a basement with a bunch of stuff set up in it, but like, I'm looking at the ceiling right now. It's all exposed. There's no like drop ceiling. The walls are concrete. There's stuff on them, but it's not like paneling or whatever you would do. Drywall, anything. It's not finished, but I like it like this. So you get to protect it that way. Anyway, first period, I go upstairs, I don't know, 8 minutes in, 12 minutes in, something like that. I say, hey, we're moving. Everybody should get ready. Second period, family room. And then as it turns out, I fell asleep-ish. Like, I was reading something on my phone during the intermission, and it just kind of drifted. And I woke up to more action. They were about to drop the puck. That's what it was. About to drop the puck, and 6 seconds into dropping the puck, there's another fight. And there almost was another. There was a cross-check in the back that I thought, oh, these guys are going to go. And then two other guys went. So it was whatever. But there was a fight. It's like, well, all right, it's going to be one of these games. We're going upstairs. So I went upstairs. I got my wife to come in there, and two of my sons. I left Zach alone. He doesn't need it. But I got everybody in on that game, and then proceeded to watch as my phone. I'm trying to remember. See, I never really felt this because 05, 06, 06, 07, I was working for every game, not just hanging out, texting everyone I know. But I counted in the third period alone 10 different people who I don't normally text with about hockey texted me about hockey. Are you watching this? This feels like 20 years ago. What the hell's going on? This is crazy. This is insane. I got a couple messages from people who were at the game. They wrote afterward because I think if you were caught up there, and rightfully so, like if I'm at that game, I'm not texting people telling them how great it is. I'm just living in the moment. But I was trying to remember, did we text each other? Like, how long ago was that? And yes, I had a phone, and we were texting by 05 through 07. But I don't think it was as ubiquitous. Like, Twitter didn't exist yet. There wasn't the social component to it that we're allowed to have now. So we've never had a good team during this era where we all talk to each other all the time. And I know a little bit, but you're with me, right? Like, it's way more now. My phone blows up constantly now whenever anything happens. It didn't used to be that way. Maybe I'd hear from one person or two people or something about something, but this was like, I kind of want to read some of these. And my phone's going to act all stupid right now, too. Look, the game ended, and I got a message that said, "I'm just so happy for Brian Koziel." And I thought, yes, me too. Go out with a bang. This is likely the last year, or, there's a good chance this is the last year that the Sabres broadcasts are on GR and that Brian's doing the games, and he has not had anything at all. He started in 2007 doing these games and has not had anything to celebrate. I was lamenting poor Dan Dunleavy, who's been here and hasn't had highlights. Like, we don't have any classic highlights. When I was working at GR for a couple weeks back, I kept hearing, audio in the building, highlights because the Sabres are getting good. But all the stuff was Generette. Like, Dunleavy's been here. He's been employed by the team for like 10 years. They've given him nothing. He got all of it yesterday. All of it. I was in the car this morning, and I heard he came on as a guest with Jeremy and Joe, and they were playing his highlights, and then he actually was talking about it too. Like, yeah, I got some good ones. Those are the first one. It was the first time he's heard him back because he went to the game, and it was wild. Then he went home, and he woke up this morning and was still, like, high from the game, just like, and then he listened and heard himself, like, yeah, okay, cool, I did that. But how about that? Like, you want to put together a resume tape. Here's what you need. You need one game with 15 goals, 1,000 lead changes. You need to be up by 3 and down by 2 and win it. You're going to need 5 fights. You're going to need 102 minutes in penalties. You're going to need the standings to line up just in a way that allows the Sabres to leap into first place. When's the last time the Sabres were in first place? I mean, we talk about the last time they were close to making the playoffs, which is 2 years ago. They missed by a point. But they've got as many points this year as they did that year with 18 games left. This is crazy. Judah Mack says, "I'm old enough to get Senator vibes." 100%. I couldn't decide yesterday if that was the 7-6 game 1 Senators thing with Connolly scoring with seconds left and then Greer and Drury stealing the puck. Who was it? Volchenkov? Was it defenseman who, like, stick went over the puck and then turned it over and boom, boom, and the Sabres win in overtime, and it was probably my favorite hockey game of that whole run. But the other one that stands out from that run was the Sabres-Senators brawl game. The Chris Neal and Ray Emery and Peters and Biron and, like, all of that. This was kind of both of those games because it had the fight element of it, but it had the scoring element. I'd have to go back and look. I know the Sabres did win that brawl game. I don't know what the score was. It wasn't 8-7, I'll tell you that. It wasn't 7-6. 7-6 was the playoff game. But this was one or both of those games combined. First time first place this late since April 11th, 2010. First time first place at all. I guess, yeah, 1-0 or something. Maybe that happened. And yes, Lindy Ruff is there for both games. Benches arguing with each other. See, that's the Senators brawl game. You don't go after my captain. You don't go after our captain. All that stuff. It was all there. I don't know what Rasmus Dahlin has done to make everyone hate him, but it's awesome. And then the quotes from him talking about wearing the stupid Goat Lord jerseys. So I don't know, we just feel evil in them, and I like it or something. All of it. It's the best. And there are arguments going on online. Like, you go on Twitter, and then over on the right, there's AI just summarizing what's happening. There's a thing in there about gatekeeping of fandom and bandwagon this and bandwagon that. Look, if you have been a season ticket holder throughout all of this, I don't know why. I don't know why you went to all the games. They weren't good. They weren't fun. And to me, as a non-ticket holder, I just don't turn on a bad television show. But then if the show gets really good and there's all this buzz, I'm like, all right, I'll check out that show again. I used to like it. And then you check it out, and it's unbelievable. I mean, that was the game of the year, obviously. What's cool, too, is that it looked like it could be the game of the year coming into it, based off of standings, based off of the streak, based off of what Buffalo-Tampa looked like last week. I never tweet during hockey games, but that game, I found myself saying, anybody else picturing a playoff series between these two teams? It's impossible not to, especially after yesterday. I mean, that 100% felt like a playoff game. Playoff atmosphere, by all accounts. Anybody I talked to who was in the building said it was the best it's been in forever. A lot of that even came through on TV. At one point early when, I want to say both teams had 5 guys in the penalty box, and they're chirping at each other. And then apparently on the Jumbotron, or video board, I don't know, whatever they call it there, they were flashing back and forth between the Sabres penalty box and the Lightning penalty box. And the crowd was just perfectly in unison with cheering heavily and then booing, and then cheering and booing. But faster. Cheer, boo. Boo, cheer, cheer, cheer. Boo. Cheer, boo. And it was coordinated and amazing just on television. But that was the kind of stuff that happens when you get a really charismatic lead singer and you go see a band and they get the crowd going and doing stuff. It was that with the intensity of playoff hockey is back. The sun has been coming out. The snow is going away. It smells like dog crap outside, and the team's good. I miss that. It's National Dog Crap Day, I think, today. I was outside. It smells terrible outside. I don't even have a dog. A lot of people do, though. And I can smell what your dog did all winter. So we go through a few days of it smelling like dog. Then something creeps through. It starts to smell like baseball. And then the next thing you know, you're going to a hockey game in shorts. When was the last time you went to a hockey game in shorts? Not counting early season. I'm saying the good stuff. Went, psyched. You've probably done it. If you're a season ticket holder and you're one of the 9,000 people that's been going to these games regardless, you've been to a game in shorts. But when's the last time you went to a game that mattered in shorts? That's coming. The only thing missing was Lindy and John Cooper cussing each other out with razors standing between them, covering his microphone like this. Oh, my God, it was great. Rasmus Dahlin, Gordie Howe hat trick. Goal, an assist, and a fight. This morning, 2 minutes before going on the air, is when I first decided, I should look at the box score. Because it just felt like everybody had 2 goals. Everybody had 3 assists. Like, it just, I don't know. Went and checked. Doan, 2 goals. Zuck, I got to say Zucker. I keep hearing Zucker. Or Zucker. I see Zucker. If he ever tells me, if I ever speak to him, and he tells me how to pronounce his name, fine. But until then, I'm going with Zucker. Tage Thompson, no goals, 4 assists. The stats from this game are just stupid. Where did it go? That went away. Oh, because I clicked on the other box because I wanted to see. All right, so goal scorers for the Sabres. Doan from Thompson and Byram. Zucker from Dahlin and Thompson. Tuck from Thompson and Ostlund. Tuck from Byram. That was a shorty. Then Tampa rips off 3 goals to tie it at 4 before we go to the third. Then they scored 2 more. Tampa scored 5 consecutive goals in this game and lost. You can take anything from this. Just there's 30 different stats like that. Like, what are the? If you could bet on that, will Tampa score 5 consecutive goals in this game and also lose? The answer is yeah, they did. So, well, how do you describe what's the one thing you would take out of this game? I think it's 15 goals, 102 penalty minutes. But how about that one, man? It's like, yeah, 4-1. Next thing you know, nope, 6-4. Then Carrick scores from Benson and Kesselring. Then Tampa scores again 3 minutes later. And then the Sabres score 3 more times to win the game. They scored 3 goals over the course of, 6 minutes? 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Dahlin from Thompson and Byram. I don't say Byram a lot. He didn't get one of the 3 stars, right? No, he's got at least 3 assists there. Zucker from McLeod. Doan from Zucker and Dahlin. So then you look at the stats. I mean, all of it. I know I'm just reading. You know all this stuff. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to not talk about this? This is all. Scott Wilson's going to be on at 11, and we'll talk with him about this and all the other stuff. And when I last left you was Thursday, right as the Bills acquired DJ Moore. So we've got that. Free agency, legal tampering thing starts today. Bills made a trade yesterday somehow, even though they talked about Taron Johnson being released. I guess nothing really happened. All the release stuff you were hearing was pending for today. Is today new league year? Is that I think that's the term we're using. So there's a bunch of football stuff to talk about. I attended a ridiculously cool event that I'd never been a part of before, which was the MAC Wrestling Championships, which is like 2 solid days of college wrestling at Alumni Arena, and it was awesome. And then got to come home and watch baseball and hockey and basketball. Everybody won everything, except UB did not fare especially well at the wrestling championships. But the event was just super cool. And I do want to talk about that at some point. But good God, I'm going to dwell on this hockey game a little bit longer. All right, so what do we have here? Benson, an assist. Carrick, a goal. Doan, 2 goals. McLeod, assist. Ostlund, assist. Thompson, 4 assists. Tuck, 2 goals. Zucker, 2 goals and an assist. Byram, 3 assists. Dahlin, a goal and 2 assists. Kesselring, an assist. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Penalty minutes. How'd we do there? 5, 5, 5, 2, 12 for Byram. 5, 7, 2, 2. That's just on the Buffalo side. A bunch of pretty much matching penalty minutes on the other side. Did it work out that way? Was it 51-51? That'd be funny. I don't know where to look for that. Doesn't matter. What else happened here? Hits. Who's hitting? Tampa. Mostly Tampa. That's okay. Take away, give away shifts. All right, that's enough of that. How about face-offs? How are they doing face-offs? Carrick wins 7 of 9 face-offs. McLeod, 15 of 24. All right. Puck possession matters. It's not like the biggest thing in the world to win a face-off, but you'd rather, right? Got a little bit better there at the trade deadline. I like it. I like all of it. Oh, yeah, the trade deadline came and went, too. That was Friday. And they added a bunch of size. The thing that stood out to me, I'm trying to remember which player it was. Might have been No. Pearson. When Pearson was added from Winnipeg, I heard somewhere where they said that he had like 62 hits. I think it was in their press release. He had like 62 hits so far this year, and that immediately puts him 8th or something on the Sabres. But of the 7 people ahead of him, 3 of them also were acquired at the trade deadline. So there was clearly a decision to be stronger, tougher, bigger, to supplement what they've got going on. Because they are flying around the ice right now and need a little bit of protection for that, especially if Rasmus Dahlin is as annoying as he must be, considering the way he was just attacked repeatedly yesterday. I mean, part of it's just like, let's hurt a good player. But he's doing something exactly right if he's getting under the skin of his opponents in that way. So I'm going to look at the beautiful standings real quick. I just want to look at, before we move on to something else, NHL standings are fun. Here's something else fun, something I used to do, something I haven't done in a long time, but now I'm thinking about it. There are 18 games left, and with the Sabres in first place in their division, keep in mind Tampa still has 2 games in hand. and the Sabres are only up by 2. So if this was reversed, I'd be talking about the games in hand as much as I possibly could. But I'm not here to rain on the parade at all. 2 games in hand for Tampa. They've got 20 games left. Sabres have 18. But what I like to do is take a look at this wild card situation and say, all right, for the Sabres to miss the playoffs, how bad does it have to get? And it's got to get pretty bad. They're at 84 points. The team that's first out, which is what you need to monitor, is Columbus. They're at 73 points. So you've got an 11-point lead. You need my point here is there is a magic number to be had right now. And it occurred to me as I was starting the show that I should have done the calculation, but I love tracking the magic number. It's all based on potential points. I've got my own system for it. It's always better than anyone else's. Every time people are talking about what they need to do, I've always got it locked in. I just haven't had to do it in a while. You know, sometimes I calculated it was a Bills thing for a while. Like, what do you need to do to get in? They're in the hunt. What do you need to get there? And with the Sabres, it has been, all right, how can they maybe get in? They've got 10 games left. If they can get 16 of those points, and this team drops 2 games, you can pat. Like, there's stuff like that. But it's basically the magic number based on total potential points. These 3-point games screw things up, but it's pretty basic math to say the Sabres need to be. I don't want to do the math out. It's gonna make me sound stupid, but I can do it. And maybe even during the break, I'll just figure that out. But in order to miss the playoffs, they're not going to miss the playoffs. They're not. It would take a real collapse, and the numbers will show it whenever I get around to calculating them, which should be soon. So that's a 7-game winning streak for the Sabres. What's the next best streak in the league? 5. Colorado's got 5. St. Louis has 4, despite being, well, theoretical sellers at the deadline. They've won 4 games in a row. A couple teams with 3. But, yeah, 7. 7 in a row. They lost 2 right before the Olympic break, and they've won 7 since. And they're back at it tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's game. I apologize for the delay. Computer's doing its stupid thing. Sharks. 3:10. Yeah, tomorrow. Sharks at Sabres tomorrow. What about Tampa? What's Tampa's schedule look like? I'd like them to use up their games in hand by losing. They've been cold. They've lost 4 of 5 or 5 of 6, something like that, to let this happen. NHL Awards Watch. All right, once you're in first place, you start thinking about that. Greg Wyshynski says Celebrini challenges for MVP, and then it says dead heat for Norris. And, I mean, based on what I've been seeing, I would imagine Dahlin is in that conversation, right? Who's in this dead heat for Norris? All right, Hart Trophy, they're saying McKinnon is the leader with Celebrini, Kucherov, and McDavid. All in the hunt. Art Ross, Rocket Richard are just goal and point related. Norris. No, he's not there. Cal Makar, Zach Werenski, Quinn Hughes. Okay. No mention. No mention of Dahlin. That's okay. It's not what I'm looking for. Top rookie, not there. Vezina, no. Okay. So you're doing it as a team again? Cool. Selke, nothing. Lady Bing, who's a gentleman? Oh, Jack Eichel. What a gentleman. Come on. Really? Traditionally, this award goes to a player with a top 20-point total and lowest penalty minutes among those players. Eichel has 70 points in 55 games with just 10 penalty minutes. Okay. Coach of the Year, John Cooper, Jared Bednar, Colorado, and Lindy Ruff, Buffalo Sabres. Is this the most fascinating race of the NHL award season? Current finalists are all battling against their own flavors of history. Cooper, who led ballots of 53% of first place votes, has never won the Jack Adams. despite 2 Stanley Cup wins and 4 conference titles. A voter said it's his Martin Scorsese year, in a nod to The Departed winning in 06. I watched The Departed again last week or so, 2 weeks ago. I don't love it. It's all right. I mean, it was good. I like it more than I don't like it. I watched it again. But considering Scorsese's career, having that be the one that won Best Picture, I get why people are mad. A voter says it has to be John Cooper. Then it says, unless it has to be Lindy Ruff, who earned 28% of the first place votes, as the coach who has the Sabres primed to break the NHL's longest playoff drought. The last time Buffalo made the postseason was 2011 under Lindy Ruff. A voter said, listen, John Cooper deserves this one too, but for Ruff to have taken Buffalo from where they were to where they are is pretty special. Cooper's done tremendous work in Tampa too, but Ruff's been through the ringer. Thrilled for Buffalo and the job Ruff is doing. Everything is finally coming together and he deserves recognition. Another voter argued. The mythical fresh GM bump is a pile of nonsense. The Sabres are a league-leading 28-5-2 since December 9th, in good part because of the guy calling the shots from behind the bench. Ruff won the Jack Adams Award 20 years ago in 05-06, the season when the Sabres lost in Game 7 of the conference finals to the Carolina Hurricanes. I didn't like that very much at all. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that stunk. All right, so what do we got here? Halfway through the third, I was fine with them losing. At least they showed up. The comeback was so delicious. It never felt like they were out of it, even as the goals were going in. I guess because so many were being scored. I used to always say, I can't, when I had a show on GR, or even when I had a show on WEC or LVL, or just this, I can't listen to Jeremy in the morning and then talk because I feel like I'm stealing things. I heard him say like 3 things that were all things I was going to say today. One of them, though, he said to Dan Dunleavy, and apparently Dunleavy said it at some point, too. At some point, watching the game, it gets to 7-5. And Jeremy talked about this, and I was going to, and I will now, too. I said out loud to my wife and whichever son or sons were in the room, all right, I think they can win this, but now they have to score 8. And 8's not a number that comes up a lot in hockey, so that seems rough. But there was still plenty of time. Like, go get 1 right now. If you're down 1, you're in it. If you get it to overtime, cool. But I don't want it to be overtime. I want it to be regulation because I want to move ahead of this team. And they did it. But that was one of the things. Like, 8? You're going to get to 8. Okay. The box score is so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm going to go back to it again. I said I wasn't going to keep going, but I am going to keep going a little bit. Goals scored per period by the teams looks really silly in this, too. So the Sabres scored 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third. Tampa scored none in the first, 4 in the second, 3 in the third, and lost. And at one point, scored 5 consecutive goals. And lost. Crazy. That's all. All right, I'll go back to the comments here real quick. Can you please go back on WGR, please? I had been waiting 14 years for your return, only to have it ripped away. I can update you on that a little. I mean, it's not a massive update, but when things started shifting around, when the Bills show left, they got in touch with me and Tim and asked us if we could do 2 weeks. And they said they're going to have some other people do it after us and then figure out what's going on. So we are now in week 2. So Tim and I did 2 weeks. Last week was Nate and Chris. This week is Nate and Chris, although Tim's filling in for Nate a little bit. Nate Gary, Chris Trapasso, Tim Graham. Then there are 2 other names that are popping up the following week. John Scott and Matt Perino. And I think after that is when they're planning on figuring out what they're actually doing. So I haven't heard anything. I've been talking to Tim a lot because we had a lot of fun and we would like to do that. So, like, I'm not in any conversations with the radio station, but I'm not out of any conversations with the radio station either. I really liked what Tim and I did. I really like what Owen Parker and I did when Tim wasn't there. I really like what Tim and Chris did last week. I like what Nate and Chris did. Pretty sure I'll like John and Matt. You know, it's just there's a lot of people. But yeah, that's not dead, but it's also not anywhere. This was the plan, and so we'll see. All right, what's in here? Oh, there was somebody who tuned in right at 10 and didn't understand because there was just music playing. Yeah, I start with music. There's music. I want to get some people in. I'm not going to start the show right at 10. If I did that, I'd be talking to 3 people, maybe. So we get you warmed up, and then I roll in. Once the music's playing, you know the show's coming. I'm here. And this is what we do. Also, if you are trying to listen back to other shows, don't hurt yourself trying to find episode 270. It didn't happen. But I like the mathematical system of having Monday shows end with a 1 or a 6. So we're just making today 271. There was no 270. You'll be fine. All right. A bunch of swords. That's good. I like that. A bunch of celebratory things. I like that. I started talking about, there's 8 consecutive W's. Does anyone know how many Gordie Howe hat tricks happened last night? I think just one, Darlene. Senator Vise, first place. Lindy. 9-1 Flyers. 9-1 versus Flyers. Oh, when they made Chechmanek cry. That was cool. Jumbotron thing was funny. I'm thinking Razor needs to keep his early playoff beard. I liked the vibe of Rob in a beard. It didn't occur to me that was a playoff-related thing. Maybe it's a win streak thing. So I think you shave down for the most part, unless you're just a bearded guy anyway. But I think you shave down to start playoffs and then see where it goes for 2 months. And then you look like a grizzled veteran team that's been through a war by the time you get to the finals. And that's when the gray starts showing up. It's fun. It's a fun tradition in hockey. But I think you strip it down. This is for players anyway. Broadcasters can do whatever they want. Dolphins fire sale. Yeah, Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Jets. Did I see that? Dolphins Jets trade? That's weird. Yeah. Dolphins are trading Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Jets in exchange for the 2026 7th-round pick from the Chargers. Jets will sign him to a 3-year, $40 million deal, according to his agent. Fitzpatrick had 1 year remaining on his deal with Miami. Interesting. Interesting that a trade happens between the teams in the same division. Weird. Rough Coach of the Year. You and Owen were fire. Were we? Cool. Thanks. April 6th, play again. Tickets are $55 right now. That's, I assume, April 6th is when they play the Lightning again. So I believe they have 1 game left against Tampa. Be nice to put some distance between these two teams. But again, Tampa's got 2 games in hand. So, there's that. I need to take a break real bad for about 45 seconds is how much time I need. But I definitely need it. Iced coffee this morning. Yeah. Okay. How about this 4-minute and 27-second song? I'll probably play 2 songs and then have Scott on. That's probably what's going to happen. All right, stick around. It's Riter Radio. So I was trying to play Street Fighting Man, and then I plugged in the phone, and then Street Fighting Man started playing through my phone instead of the show, so then I put on the other thing and called Scott. Sorry. It's all right. I've got Scott here live on the line, but I don't have him on the screen yet because I got a picture of Owen Parker. But that's okay. Hi, Scott.
Hey, what's up?
Did you watch any sports over the weekend?
Yeah.
Good God, man.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that was an awesome game.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just, I did an hour so far, and in that hour, it was just me talking about the game to myself. But there are so many things to say. Like, I didn't even get around to checking stats until this morning, and finding out who did what. And like Tage Thompson had 4 assists, and obviously a game with 15 goals and 1 million fights is 102 penalty minutes is worth noting. But It needed everything. It needed the winning streak. It needed the standings to be aligned that they were. It needed to be in front of a sold-out crowd. It almost needed the Team USA to have won the Olympics to like make hockey super huge again. But it's back. I mean, that was a 20 years ago game last night, and I don't think no one would deny it. I mean, that was something we haven't seen in a long time.
That was a generational game,
yeah,
for sure. And obviously, the direct line connection to the Ottawa, Chris Drury, Neil.
Yeah. Bray Emery
6-5 game.
I don't know because I couldn't decide if it was more that game or it was more game one against the Senators in the playoffs that I think was a 7-6 game where Connolly scored late and then Drury and Greer take the puck away. I don't know which one it was. If it was the Brawl game or the playoff game. I guess I want to make it the Brawl game because it's regular season. But that was, I feel like, right around this time of year. I should look that up. Why don't I look that up while you're talking?
There wasn't really fighting in that playoff game either.
No, that was just goals.
There was that was goals, and that was the game. I guess if you can make a kind of a line to that game in the feeling that the Senators had steamrolled everybody all season long. And that was the game where it really felt like the Sabres announced to the rest of the league, no, this little thing we've got going on here is real. This is a real thing that's going on. And we're excellent as well. So I think that there was a bit of that last night. I think last night's game, the Sabres blew a 3-goal lead.
Yeah.
I think you needed a little bit of that in there as well. And I heard you talking before the break there. I think from what I remember, I think that there were 3 players with Gordie Howe hat-tricks last night. I think there was 1 on Tampa and 2 for the Sabres.
All right. Well, I'm going to spit out now that the Sabre-Senators brawl was February 22nd of 2007. So we're, 2 weeks off from that, but same general time of the year. It couldn't have been February 22nd because we were in an Olympic break at this time. So it's the same. And then I'll bring the box score back up and check on that because that might be true. I don't know. Looking at the stats, there's so many of them. There's so many things to look at on that sheet.
They said on SportsCenter last night, it's the first game with over 100 penalty minutes and this many goals since 1989.
That sounds right.
This is not just a Sabres thing. This is the type of game that ends up being, it's a poster game. If the NHL were to put a commercial out for what they would like everybody in this country to think is their sport, I think it's that game last night. It is offenses taking chances, making some brilliant plays and passes, and being aggressive. You look at the pass, even the Tampa pass over to Kucherov to go back up 2 was awesome. Dahlin having the ability as a defenseman to just take that puck and say, I'm just going right to the net down the middle of the ice. Even Tampa was like, wait, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
It's just something that you don't see, and it reminds you of why everybody was so excited about him being the first pick in the draft, because it was that play. That's what he can give you.
Yeah.
Seeing, Carrick make a big play, the new guy showing up, and I know they don't have all the new guys yet on the ice, and I forget where it was. It was the type of game that if you were only locked in on the Sabres game, and I was still flipping around, there was hockey on TNT and on ESPN. And the only thing that those other 2 channels were talking about, and I know because I flipped it over there, were the Sabres and the Lightning game going on. They would they were updates during the games, but then also in between the periods, they were like, all right, Devils down 1-0. Who cares? Do you know what's going on right now in Buffalo? Because it's incredible. So yeah, it was. I mean, it was really fun. I mean, that's a fun game, and to see everybody and some of I forget which broadcast it was pointed out that they brought those new guys, the big defense, they've got big defensemen that would have loved this game.
Sure. Well, they had one in the
And they
press
were
box with them.
right. They were talking about like they had to be in the press box like I am livid that I'm not in this
Yeah,
game.
can we play
right
again
now.
right after this one? Keep all keep all the people in the seats. We're gonna start over.
Right.
Do it again.
We're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it again right now, because this is, I mean, especially that first period. I mean, that would have been their bread and butter right there. That's part of the reason why they were acquired by the Sabres.
Sure.
Was to deal with this type of game, and to see the team in general fully coalesce around, there's a cheap shot, and there's just becomes no regard for human life. We're going in and we're dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good time post this game will be, because this is the first time it feels like the Sabres have been back since Miller got run
By
and
Lucic.
there was just no reaction from anybody. And that to me was like the beginning
That killed it.
if not the end of the end.
Yep.
Like that was like, all right, we're not really sure what's happening here, but it's not good. And this was the opposite of that.
Bookend.
Took a shot at our guy, and now we're going.
Yeah.
And now it feels like they're back.
Yep. Brandon Hagel, a goal and an assist, and 11 minutes in penalties. So I'm assuming there was a fight there. So that's another Gordie Howe hat trick on the other side. That was it. There are a lot of people who were close. A lot of people with a goal and an assist, but no fight.
Okay.
Or 3 assists. Byram had 3 assists and at least 1 fight, maybe 2, but no goal. So 1 on each side. So you got just a little bit of everything in that game that just made it. It was unbelievable, and that capped a weekend. Like I got home from. We had we had a noon basketball game, a 2:00 basketball game, and a 5:00 basketball game for my kids, and they all won. And then I got home. I'm talking in the car like, we got to go home and watch this hockey game. And then it delivered exactly. I mean, way more than I thought it would. But I mean, watching. I don't know if you watched them play each other last week or a week and a half ago. Already, I was thinking, well, these two teams in the playoffs is going to be unbelievable, and they all thought it. And then they went out and did it. Both sides were unbelievable yesterday. My favorite stat from this game is that Tampa scored 5 consecutive goals and lost. Like, it's not just they Sabres had a 3-goal lead. It was they were then down by 2. After 5 straight were scored, and still found a way to put together 3 goals in 5 minutes or whatever, and come away with the win, and didn't even have to go to overtime because you didn't want the 3-point thing. You're trying to put some distance between yourselves and Tampa, and they do still have 2 games in hand, but it all needed to happen like that for the world to embrace it. When's the last time you woke up on a Monday morning thinking about the Sabres game that you saw the night before? I was going to say a hockey game, but gold medal actually was a Sunday morning thing, and then you woke up on Monday thinking about gold. But man, where hockey is in my life right now compared to where it was a month ago, I mean, it's night and day. It's I'm listening to Street Fighting, man. Like I'm ready for all this. I almost played Machine Head. Like it's, I don't know. And then the world, like the NCAA tournament is coming. The MAC tournament's coming. All the conference tournaments are coming. That's all here. Baseball started. World Baseball Classic is going on. I have spent years saying, people think of me as a sports guy, but I don't know that I am a sports guy as much as people think I am. I am when it's good. It turns out that the most compelling stuff on TV every day lately has been sports, and the most compelling news stories to me have been sports. So I found myself sucked back into the world of sports more by the Sabres doing this, by Team USA doing what it did. All of it is just piling up to, I'm excited every day about what's going to happen next in the world of sports. And it hasn't been like that for me for a while.
It's been a long time since I watched a Sabres game. And at the end, I was like, I can't wait for this game to be shown again, and I cannot I'm interested in the post game, and I can't wait to flip over to ESPN
Right.
and
Talk about us.
see them talking about it and having them cover. It was cool. First of all, it's cool to see the Sabres really finally having the attitude, which is something to prove. I feel like they play like they've got something to prove,
Sure.
which is something that as a fan we've been kind of hoping to see from them for years. And instead it felt like everyone was just sad. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
would lose a couple and it would be sad, and instead of the reaction being, well, we've got something to prove, it was like, here we go again. And that attitude is different. But to see all the interviews after the game from both sides and both coaches be like, man, that was something. Like that was, and you just lost a game, like you said, you scored 5 straight goals, you just lost, and the Tampa players being like, hey, listen, people got their money's worth today. That was an insane game. Like that was fun. That was a fun game. It sucks that we lost, but everybody got what they came for. Tampa showed up too.
Yeah.
And they played like, hey, I know Florida has gotten a lot of the attention, but we are the other dynasty of this era. And we've still got a lot of those players, and we think that we can still make it to go. And that was a big win, I think, just for the Sabres to be able to say there's a lot of cups on the other side of the ice. And that's a game that we're going to have to fight and win, and we have the ability to do it. And as we are now under 20 games to go to the playoffs, I mean, that's a big chip in the back pocket to know that when these moments call, and they're going to, especially down the stretch between, whether it be another team fighting to get into the playoffs or when you get into the playoffs, that's what these games are going to look like. Not 8-7.
All right.
But the physicality and the intensity and the desperation that is needed to win those games is what we saw yesterday. You have to be, and you and I have talked about it a bunch when it comes to the NHL playoffs. Who's more desperate? You have to have the desperate. You can't fake it.
Yep.
You're either going to have it. That's why it's so hard to close out that team when you're up 3-0. When you think, oh, they're up 3-0, this is over.
Yeah, they're going to roll over. Nope.
No, that's going to be the hardest game because the other team knows that, they got to go home to their wives for the next 6 months. I'm showing up to the rink.
Yeah.
I am desperate. I do not want to go golfing. I want to hit guys. And to have a little bit of that taste for the Sabres going down the stretch here and know that they could do it against a team with pedigree is fun, and it's going to be important for them.
Were you surprised that neither goaltender was pulled?
Shocked. But I think it's also a credit to the coaches knowing,
it's not on them. It's just what this game is.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what this
Tampa
is
played
right
a backup.
now.
Tampa played a backup, which is, it's fine. It doesn't take away from it in any way, but they were committed to, like, we're giving our guy a night off. He's playing. But I thought, like, Luukkonen, at one point, they had given up 6 goals on 22 shots or something, like, they were bad numbers. But they stuck with it, and credit to Lindy Ruff. Like, I see something like that happen, I start fearing, like, are you ruining this guy? In the, like, the Patrick Waugh trade me right now type of situation that happened in Montreal. Like, you got to fear that a little bit, but he's got his finger on the pulse better than I would ever pretend to. So I just assumed, okay, he must know that this is okay. But at some point, I mean, if the team came out and played that way and lost because they gave up 7 goals on 28 shots, I mean, we're kind of looking over at you going, dude, everybody else showed up. Where were you?
Right, he's ruining this for us.
Yeah, but it worked out. So it's, it's cool. And it was the backup in Tampa. And I also don't care about his mental state moving forward. I do care about what happens with the Sabres. But I was very surprised that nothing happened there.
Yeah, the goals that the Sabres gave up, it's not like he was giving up soft goals. I mean, those were a lot of those were goals.
Oh yeah, precise passes.
like I
and,
said, that cross-eyes pass to Kucherov.
Yeah.
No one on planet Earth is stopping that. The puck gets tipped over to the side, and then the side angle. I think that was Hagel's goal. There was the deflection off of the Sabres skate, and it went in. I mean, what are you gonna do in a situation like that, where if the puck deflects 3 times? I think Lindy's got enough of a read. I think both, like I said, both coaches were like, all right, this is what this is going to be. Every shot, no matter who is going to be in the goal right now, is going to be probably a goal. So there's no point in pulling it. Let's just keep going forward and try to outscore them.
Yeah, it was awesome. All right, DJ Moore. Want to talk about DJ Moore?
Let's talk about DJ Moore.
Okay.
Yeah, because is he the number one wide receiver that you would hope to pair with Josh Allen? I mean, no, you'd be like, I'd like to have Justin Jefferson,
right.
please. Well, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, they're not available. They're not available. So, you kind of have to work down the list. And DJ Moore is a guy that your head coach is intimately familiar with because he coached him in Carolina. And just so happens DJ Moore had his 2 best career years in Carolina with the new head coach, Joe Brady.
Mm-hmm.
So there's familiarity there. I think there's some trust there from Moore coming in. I think it's also a pretty clear sign that there is going to be some different thinking in personnel moves. I don't think DJ Moore would have been a move that would have been made if McDermott was still there. And it's because the Bears season ended on an interception where DJ Moore stopped running his route and Caleb threw the ball down the field,
mm-hmm.
and it ended up being an interception by the Rams in the playoff game in overtime. So, I think McDermott would say, well, I mean, we got rid of Diggs for stuff like this.
Right.
Are we going to bring in DJ Moore, who, is he as good as Diggs was in his prime?
Probably not.
Probably not. So now we're going to bring in a lesser version of Diggs with the same type of attitude stuff that might be coming along with it? I don't think so.
Diggs did work out great for a while until it didn't. I mean, it didn't.
Right. I mean, he's got an expiration date.
Yeah.
Sure. He's, Diggs is the NFL version of bananas. You get a cluster. Those first 3 are magical. And then after that, you got to be 80 years old to appreciate it. They're you don't want them. They're in the garbage.
Banana bread, man. Black.
Banana bread.
Banana bread.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
So I think that DJ Moore is probably gonna work out okay if he can stay healthy, and he has been. He plays. So, all right. Let's see what he can do. It's not, I wouldn't call him a number 1, but it's somebody that has some speed on him and somebody that can catch the ball, which over the past 2 seasons has been something that the Bills necessarily haven't been able to find.
Keep getting one or the other.
Right. They got the speed with Cooks, but then he doesn't catch the ball. They've gotten guys with good hands, but then they're slow. So hoping to hit the mix on there. And I know 2nd round pick, it's the back end of the 2nd round. I think you can look at maybe teams, if you're in general, teams have overvalued 1st round picks or early picks. If you're at the back end, the Rams have, since 2017, would you like to take a guess at how many players the Los Angeles Rams have drafted in the 1st round?
Since 2017?
Yes.
4?
1.
Really?
1. Yeah, they take their 1st round pick and they go get a guy that's already established. We've talked about this in the past. Like, all right, with your 1st round pick, would you like to take a guy or would you like to take this Pro Bowler?
Right.
I know that it comes with the money situation is certainly different and the age situation is certainly different, but the Rams have basically decided that they're just going to take established guys who they already know what they are with those picks. them off to somebody else. They have taken the complete view that these early round picks are being way overvalued for what they are,
Okay.
and especially if you're taking drafting at the back end of rounds. So the second round pick, you'd like to have it, but you're also saying with our second round pick, we've selected DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And I think you'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
If that was something that you could do in the NFL, I think you'd say, oh, yeah, I like that pick in the second round.
So the Bills now have, this is AI overview, but they retain their own first round pick, 26th, and have extra draft capital in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds. Now with the Moore trade, let's see. First round, they've got a pick. Third, they've got one. Fourth, they've got one. Second or fifth, they've got two. They acquired a 6th in the Taron Johnson deal with the Raiders yesterday. And then in the 7th, they have their own pick plus potential additional picks received from Raiders/Jets in deals. So they're gonna have a bunch of swings.
Right. I think those back end picks, I think, are going to be important because that's what turns into when you're trying to turn over and change your defensive style. That's where you're going to do it. You're going to be able to have those 5th, 6th, 7th round picks that if you get in the back end, forgive me for being crass by saying this, but there's a fat guy down there to play nose tackle. Boom.
Right.
That's where you can get them. Some of these other guys that you want, to match your defensive scheme and your depth pieces, that's where you're going to be able to pick them up. So, you move into the back end of the draft, but those are really where you take those depth pieces. And honestly, if we're really looking at what this GM for the Bills has been good at, I'd rather have him have more 5th, 6th, 7th round picks because he does it better. He does that better than the 1s and 2s. So
that's right. They've built their depth from and undrafted free agents too. Like they've done a really good job of lower end, day 3 and beyond picks coming in and making the roster and sticking around for years.
Right. So, I'm fine with it. I think as of right now, that's probably the best wide receiver that they could have reasonably acquired.
All right.
Without having to really go major. So, or like I said, some of those other big names that you'd love to have, are they actually available? My guess is no.
No, just because you like Justin Jefferson and Joe Brady knows him doesn't mean you can have him.
Right. I mean, Jamar Chase, here's the thing. All right, you're going to trade one of those wide receivers down in Cincinnati. You do that, you're probably also going to have to trade Burrow because he's going to be livid.
Right. So,
I mean, they can't do anything with any of those guys. So, I'm good with it. The Taron Johnson thing to the Raiders surprises me a little bit from the Bills' perspective because he's been such an important player. On the other side, this is the exact move that has always happened where he goes and plays for 7 weeks and then gets cut and then ends up on the Bills anyway. Right. I mean,
that's been going on with
this is what they do
backs.
with guys in the secondaries. They always come back. So, not surprising that it was the Raiders because I know, if you listen to a broadcast and Brady talking about Taron Johnson and how Brady has influence out there in Las Vegas, it becomes, you can see how he becomes a very appealing piece for them to add.
Sure. And a guy that they were just going to cut. So they grab a free draft pick for that, which is, I mean, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. When I heard the list of the 4 players being released late last week, that was the one that stood out to me. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's still a useful player, but if from a cap standpoint it made sense, okay, fine. And then to have the sort of bonus of finding out yesterday that they're getting a draft pick for him, or a swap of a 6th or 7th, whatever, but moving up around, I gotta call that a win. What else? NFL. I mean, there's a ton of NFL stuff going on right now.
Let me pose a question to you here as we're approaching free agency. And I think a lot of teams are going to be in this mode after seeing Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion, is a phrase that I think we never thought we would utter, but he is. And it's a copycat league, and I think teams are going to be more open to reevaluating where some of these quarterbacks that have been given up for dead, are they actually? Can we do something with these guys? Do they have the parts and it just hasn't been the right situation? So I compiled a list of names here. Do any of these quarterbacks, in your opinion, are any of them the next Sam Darnold?
Reclamation project, kind of left for dead,
Right. So
probably drafted early. Yeah.
These are quarterbacks that were originally highly thought of and have been benched
Okay.
in the last year, because that's what Darnold was.
Sure.
Highly thought of, benched, just traded by the Jets. He was never benched for the Jets, but benched in Carolina, and then went up and spent 1 year in Minnesota as the backup.
Which was great till it wasn't.
Kind of by accident.
Yeah.
Right? And then ends up in Seattle and going to the Super Bowl. All right, so here's my list. Do any of these guys have that ability? Justin Fields was benched for the Jets this year. First round pick.
No. I don't hate him, but no.
Tua.
No way.
Malik Willis.
I can't believe how much I'm hearing his name lately. And I know things have gone a little bit well for him in Green Bay, but I've never seen him throw a good pass. So it's difficult for me to say yes on that. I mean, physical characteristics are there, but I have had no belief in him ever. And that doesn't change just because he keeps getting mentioned, just because the Darnold thing works. And the Mayfield thing has worked to a certain extent. He's another one drafted, right in the same 10 minutes. Both of them selected by bad teams. And that's a thing, too. And we'll get back to your list. If a bad team is desperate for a quarterback and they force you into their lineup quicker than they probably should, but they're still the same crap team that got to pick first, it's not likely going to turn around immediately. It's not often that you wind up with, like, the Colts had that year where Manning got hurt, and so they were terrible. And then that got them the first overall pick, and they got Andrew Luck. And it was like, well, that's going to work, because they just had an off year with their quarterback missing. And then he came back, and he was great right away. He didn't last super long in the league, but he was a very good player. You could see that working because it was fluky that Indy had a chance to draft him. If you're just the Jets, so you're drafting really high, you're a bad team. We've seen it year after year. I don't expect a quarterback to come in and be successful right away. Yeah, that's one of the pieces you need. But if you're just a mess, you're a mess. So, Darnold with the Jets ain't going to work. Darnold with Seattle that was primed did work. And with the confidence he gained the year before in Minnesota, although it was a disaster at the very end, but he proved to himself that he could do it, got that confidence, went to a good organization, and was able to win. So a lot of this is going to be organizational, but is there a good team that needs a pretty good team that needs a quarterback and could flip it with one of these guys? And so far, I think we're 0 for 3 on the three that you mentioned.
It's funny you mentioned Malik Willis, and yes, he has been the hottest name because he had some nice moments this year with Green Bay when he subbed in there. It is funny that you mentioned that you've never really seen him throw a good pass, because this stat popped up on social media this week. If you take away screen passes and anything within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, Malik Willis has 28 dropbacks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're talking about $30 million to a guy that has less dropbacks than that.
Okay.
Than millions of dollars that you're going to be willing to give. But he is in that line of a guy that came into the NFL and, really needed to sit and learn.
Yep.
So, at least he has had some time to sit. All right. Continuing here with the list. Mac Jones. I don't count anything that happens in San Francisco for any quarterback.
Okay.
He did go to the playoffs.
This is a hard one.
I did see him get crushed.
Yeah.
But
Again,
he got there.
Is not. I like him the best of the names that you've listed right here. If my franchise is a quarterback away and we sign Mac Jones, am I buying tickets for the Super Bowl? No. But I like him the best of anyone you've named so far.
How about Will Levis?
I forgot he existed.
He's missed now a year and a half. He got hurt at the end of last year for Tennessee.
Okay.
And then in camp this year, got hurt again, had to have surgery.
What's
so he
his...
never got to battle for the first job with Cam Ward, as if they weren't going to let the number one pick play anyway.
So what's his contract status? Is he going to be released? Is his contract up? I don't remember when he was. He's probably 4 years in, but he was
that I don't know.
Was he a first round pick? I don't think he was a first round pick.
No, I don't.
So if he wasn't, then it would be a 4-year deal. I'm going to look him up.
I think he was a second round pick. I remember because he had that hot girlfriend.
Wait, a college quarterback had a hot girlfriend?
Yeah, an SEC quarterback.
It's weird.
Had a hot Instagram model girlfriend. Go figure.
Huh. I'm looking up his contract situation.
So he's been out for a while. Of everybody on this list, he might be the longest shot just when you combine the injuries and the length of time he is out.
Yeah. All right. So he's going into year 4, and slated to make $1.14 million. Cap hit of 3. Yeah, I incomplete. Like, my grade on him is incomplete. I have no strong opinion either way on Will Levis.
He does have, of everybody on this list, he does have the best memes.
Why? What does he have?
Remember that short time that he was playing? It was like once a week he would like throw the ball backwards one play, or like he had that string of like 3 or 4 games in a row where he was like, there's the picture of him like looking out the eye hole or the ear hole, and like he ran into somebody on the sideline. Yeah, no, he's got a nice series of bloopers. Okay, next name, Trey Lance.
Talk about incomplete. What was he drafted? 3rd overall?
Yeah, 49ers.
Jesus.
The 49ers to me is the NFL version of the Atlanta Braves with pitchers.
Sure.
Like if you're a pitchers and you were with the Braves in like the 90s,
yeah,
and they traded you, that guy sucks. Because everybody else was good there. Like if you made a trade with the Braves and you were acquiring their pitcher, you lost that trade.
I'm going to give Kevin Millwood a pass on this. Kevin Millwood was good with Philly after he was with the Braves. I'm going to give him that one. But yes, I get your point overall. Trey Lance. Let's look at Trey Lance's career. There's not much here to see at all. Okay.
There wasn't much in college. If you remember, he had the one good year.
Yeah.
And then because they were FCS, he didn't get to play his senior season with COVID. So he didn't play that year. So when he got drafted, it was off of 1 year, a year and a half before the draft.
Yeah.
And then when he got drafted, he didn't play again and then got hurt the next year. So there was another year without it. So he literally hasn't played much football.
He's a ghost. He's attempted 200 passes in 4 NFL seasons. He's completed 108 of them. He's got 5 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. I mean, those are similar to my numbers in the last 5 years. That's not a lot. I don't know. I don't have an answer. He's 6'4". I like that. 6'4", 226. Mobile-ish, right? Man. What else? Do we have any rushing stats on him? Here we go. He has rushed for 361 yards. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is a guy that would make sense to me to bring in as like competition. Like let's say the Raiders. You're going to draft Mendoza, but maybe Mendoza's not ready. Although he appears to be fairly, seems to have the tools. But if I want to have some like semi-veteran kind of competitor that might be able to give me a little bit of a boost, I'm interested in Trey Lance. I'm not throwing him out. I like him. Other than Mac Jones, I would say I like him the best of the players you've named so far.
All right, we're gonna dip back into the Jets waters here. Zach Wilson. I mean, there's no chance. He's one of the biggest draft busts. Like, he needs to be up at near the top of the list of draft busts.
I mean, I hate his face. I hate his face. And me hating his face, I'm trying to get past his face to see if maybe there's something else there, but I'm stuck on face. And, like, I'd be mad if the Bills signed him. So, and with no chance of him ever playing, I'd be mad if they replaced Mitch Trubisky with him. So no, I'm out on Zach Wilson.
What about Kenny Pickett?
Dude, he's a backup. I don't hate him as a backup, but if he ever has to play, I think I'm going to lose. So I guess I do hate him as a backup. No on Kenny Pickett.
How about former number 1 pick Kyler Murray?
Absolutely not. No interest whatsoever. Can he still play baseball?
I think he can. And actually, I saw a story this week where he's been approached about it.
It's a good idea. It's time.
It's time for him to go back to second base.
Yes.
And last name on my list here is Anthony Richardson.
Okay, I don't know anything about Anthony Richardson except what I hear. I don't know that I've ever seen him throw a pass. I just, he's, been in and out of the lineup. He was hurt his first year or first and second years, and then they bring in this, they've been doing the veteran sort of quarterback rental thing in Indy. I have no opinion on him. I don't know that I saw him play much in college. You tell me about Anthony Richardson, because I don't have an opinion.
Well, he was drafted based on athletic ability. And, coming off of the success, they hired the guy that, quote unquote, turned around or brought in and developed Jalen Hurts. Say, oh, well, this guy's like Jalen Hurts, a little bit more athletic. He's got a cannon for an arm. This is going to work too. And that's not what happens. That's not really the way it works. I understand the thinking, but that is not what has happened. And he just keeps losing battles for the quarterback position. Like, they're giving him opportunities. They want him to win these. And then when they do give him opportunities, he gets in the game, he gets immediately hurt. So they're bad. That's kind of been the reason why that door has always been open is, well, we have to bring in somebody else because we know he's going to be hurt.
Yeah.
And then this year they were set to have a battle between him and Daniel Jones. And in the preseason game, like snap number 3, he doesn't see the guy, not from the blind side, from the front side. If you remember, he just doesn't see him, holds the ball, gets his head rearranged, breaks his fingers, fumbles the ball, and that was the end of that. That's, season over. So
did he break his face too?
He might have. I thought it was like a fingers thing that got caught up in the hit as well. But I mean, he got a guy.
He was taken out of the competition
that he didn't see.
Yeah, he's taken out of the competition.
Right. Yeah, he can't. He doesn't see the field well, and that's a big problem when you're a quarterback. You have to be able to anticipate things. I think when you watched him throw the small times that he has been in, he's one of those guys that is coming from Florida. His best games in Florida were against crappy teams where he saw guys open, and you're never going to really see guys open in the NFL. You have to anticipate and know what's happening and throw guys open a lot, and he has not shown the ability to do that, but neither did Darnold for a while there.
Right.
Which is why we're in this situation similar to, hey, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Can we get a guy like Trent Dilfer and just win a Super Bowl? And the answer was, of course, no, unless you have the best defense since the 86 Bears.
Yeah.
Then, yes, you can. If the defense and special teams averages 21 points a game, which is basically what they did, you could have Trent Dilfer, sure. But there was that period of time where, all right, we don't need somebody special, just a game manager.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams just, messed around and did nothing for a long time.
Yeah, well, that was 26 years ago, so maybe we can stop using that as a reference point. It's it's probably time to move on. We were both right on Richardson.
No, I'm saying this is a similar situation.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that Dilfer has gotten so much. Dilfer has gotten so much run as an example of a way that a team once won a Super Bowl and now it's been 26 years that we've been talking about it. So that is his legacy. His legacy is he was a very average dude who was in the right place at the right time and did everything that they needed to get him through. So that was cool. Richardson, we're both right, except mine was later. It was October 13th. Richardson was placed on injured reserve after he fractured the orbital bone in his eye. It's not in your eye, but you know what I mean, in his face, during pregame warm-ups. That's how much he's not seeing the defense. He fractured his orbital bone in warm-ups. It's hard to trust that as a player moving forward. You gotta have another plan. All right, we're good on quarterbacks. Now what?
We haven't talked about our one true love, and that is the Mid-American Conference adding a team from California.
We haven't. That's right.
Talked about that.
I thought our one true love was going to be Khalil Mack.
Well, yeah, Khalil Mack. We should throw that in there, I guess, as a bridge. Khalil Mack, 1 year, $18 million, back to the Chargers. Now puts him over $200 million, and makes him the person, because this contract is fully guaranteed, will make him after this season with this contract. He's made more money than any defensive player in the history of the NFL.
Good for him.
So that's awesome for him. And hopefully
he'll use some of it to get rid of the track at UB Stadium.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully one of these soon, if the Bulls have to play out at Sacramento State, he'll be able to come up for a game and take us out to dinner.
Ooh,
that would be fun. Take that short flight from LA up to Sacramento, hang out, take us out to a nice,
steakhouse,
seafood dinner, and never call us again.
Khalil Mack is a saint. Khalil Mack is a saint. I was interested in him knowing the contract was up. There was word that the Chargers were also interested in him, which makes sense because he's still a super productive, awesome dude to have on your team. But I thought there was a chance that maybe this week we could see a homecoming there for Khalil. So I'm a little sad about that, but good for him with the money and all that. And he's a Hall of Famer, and it's cool. It's cool. Good for him.
All right, so Sacramento State has decided to go. They are desperate to go from the FCS up to the FBS. They have been fundraising money now for 3 years. They have tried to pay their way into other conferences. All the other conferences have said no. They were in a situation where their upcoming schedule, they had already left their conference in the FCS. So they were going to be playing this season in the FCS as an independent, and they only had 7 games scheduled. Like they were in a tough spot here, and they were desperate and wanted to move up, and then saw North Dakota State make the move and get in with the Mountain West. And they reached out to the MAC, and listen, I don't want to say told you so, but you and I in the fall were here talking, and I said, I know it sounds ridiculous, but Sacramento State is desperate, and the MAC can use more teams, and if they're going to give them money. And it sounds ridiculous, but I'm just saying I'm starting to hear things, and
then they lose Northern Illinois.
They lose Northern Illinois to the Mountain West. Their media rights deal is coming up. This is the last year of that. Adding in, saying, all right, we've got Oxford, Ohio, and Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is basically Detroit.
Yeah.
But you got Central Michigan and Western out in the middle of nowhere. Hey, how about adding the capital of California? Yeah, that would help. Actually, yes. Thank you. This is a no-brainer deal for the MAC, and I want to give the commissioner, who is a nice guy. We've talked to him twice a year, basically.
I saw him. Really good guy. I saw him Friday.
Right. Give him credit for navigating this, because it is very clear that he went and said, if you guys are serious, we don't want you. So you're going to have to really show up and offer something here. And really held them over the coals. It's an unbelievable deal for the MAC. This is a terrible deal for Sacramento State. They are out there saying that they're going to be that this is going to end up being worth $1 billion for Sacramento State. I can tell them right now, this is not going to be worth $1 billion of advertising and notoriety. I mean, they're using all these formulas that's like, we're getting on ESPN, we're going to be showcasing ourselves on football, on national television, we're going to be playing major teams now, and all of that is going to add up into $1 billion. That's complete smoke and mirrors. It is absolutely not true. It is absolutely not true. But for the MAC, this is absolutely all win. All win for them.
If the check clears.
Right. But they already did the fundraising.
Yep.
There was already a lot of fundraising and a lot of former players and alumni that wanted this move to happen. So, assuming that their money is still good here, it's to be able to say, pay us $15 million. You're going to pay for all of our teams to travel to your home. None of our teams are going to pay for their road games against you. And it's a 5-year deal. And we're not taking you in any other sports, just football. I mean, oh my God. Plus you get the added in of, like I said, a team out in California, another open window, a West Coast window for MAC teams to play in, and makes it more appealing for their next media deal. I mean, my goodness, it couldn't be any better for the conference. They had $15 million from somebody to join. It's unbelievable. Everybody's basically getting a mill in the deal, and then they don't have to pay for road games. It's unbelievable. He absolutely fleeced Sacramento State on this deal, and including in there, listen, if this is a joke and it's not working out, after 5 years, guess what? You're gone.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're not willing to do that. Go ask UMass. They said, we're going to give UMass a 5-year deal to come in football. And guess what? After 5 years, you better bring basketball or you're not going to be in football. UMass didn't want to go independent. The MAC told them, bring basketball after 5 years or you're gone. And when they said, no, we're not going to bring basketball, they were gone.
Yep.
And guess what happened? 5 or 6 years later, they came back and they brought their basketball with hat in hand. So if this Sacramento State deal doesn't work out, the MAC is going to be fine with saying, bye. You're up in FBS. You paid all that. We got your money. We got a new deal based off you being in the conference, but you suck and you're bringing us down and you're embarrassing. So you're gone. So they're going to have to hold up their end of the bargain in that too. It's a great deal for the MAC. It's a great deal for us because if, a 5-year deal means we're going there once. It might only be once.
Yep.
But we're getting a free trip to Sacramento.
I like it.
Along the way here, and I'm a big fan of that.
I've never been to Sacramento. I'm excited to go to Sacramento. I like going to weird places, off the beaten path.
And this is certainly a
Outlier.
This is certainly an outlier. Here's something: Sacramento State becomes the second insect mascot in the FBS. That's a rarity.
What are they? Hornets.
They are the Hornets behind the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, Georgia Tech, yeah.
Of Georgia Tech. So, yeah, it's a fun move. It's football only. There's no downside for the conference. I have a hard time.
No downside for any individual team in the conference, except for Sac State.
Right, because they were so desperate to get in, it really feels like. Schools like we talk about it all year, all the time, which is. Kent and Akron and some of these schools in the conference, they don't have money. So to go to them and say, hey, Sacramento State would like to join us, like they're legitimately looking at the conference saying, how am I paying for a charter flight out there? Like, if I have to pay for a charter flight out to California and back, because they gotta come back, a round trip, like they might have to cut gymnastics.
I'm pretty sure Kent and Akron walk to each other's football games, right?
Right. So that feels very much like a deal that is put in there specifically for some of the lower end teams and schools in the conference that just don't have the money. When you look at Kent State going out and getting their teeth kicked in
Right.
3 times a year, they're not doing that for the experience. They're doing that because they get paid, and they're going to say, look, we're not going out there unless they pay." And then to have a team desperate enough to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, no,
We'll pay,
we'll
and here's money.
we'll fly out like you're a desperate NBA player." Yeah, I'll fly out to the game, sure. Um, it's an incredible deal, incredible deal.
I love it. When do we get a schedule? When does schedule come out?
Usually here in March. Usually here and midway point towards the end of March is when we get that official schedule. I have heard some rumors about what's going on.
It doesn't seem like we'll go there this year.
I have done the math, and I texted you guys a couple of weeks ago on it. Just looking at with the pod system now, who's playing what, where we're going. I don't think that we are going to be playing Sacramento State now. I would assume, they're losing Northern Illinois, so Sacramento State, and also being the westernmost team.
They probably just jump into that spot.
Right, they're probably going to just kind of jump into that spot, and if that's the case, then the Bulls wouldn't be playing Northern Illinois this year. So I would assume that they're not going to be playing Sacramento State this year.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, March is usually the situation where we get the final actual dates and order of conference play.
All right. Well, here we are. That's another reason to love March. There's so much going on right now. Anything else that we need to do here before I let you go?
Couple of quick things.
Okay.
March Madness is coming. UB Akron Thursday at 4.
Yep.
The Bulls have shown this year that they've turned a corner and that they can compete with the big boys. Didn't play well, I don't think, against Akron in one of those games this year. But if we're looking at the gold standard, which is the team that's 31-0,
they hung on them twice.
They lost on a buzzer beater in overtime to Miami once, and then the other time it was like a 5-point game, which is the Bulls had a chance, I think, there at the end, if I remember correctly. They got a shot up to try and tie it, and might have been some maybe it was 3 points, not 5, of their game at Alumni. So the Bulls, while 7th seeded, have the capability of making a run here. So that could be fun. It's fun to have them back in Cleveland, where they belong. Overall in basketball, this has kind of been senior week for teams. I think part of the reason why for me that I have kind of been checked out on college basketball much more than I have been is the fact that I don't know who's on anybody's team anymore. Much more so than football.
Sure.
Like the transfer portal for football has been wild, but it's still, you still have like 55 of the guys that you know.
Well, and you don't have one and dones in football. Like basketball, right. It's already become very difficult to track because the stars each year are guys that are brand new to college basketball, and then the ones who might have stuck around and you'd kind of get to know them because it's the third year you're seeing this kid play for North Carolina, or the third year you're seeing this kid play for whatever, Georgetown. That doesn't exist anymore either. So it's just kind of
right.
It's all about jerseys and atmosphere and buildings, but it's not at all about the players.
And here's my stat to back that up. High major teams, I'm talking Power 5 teams, which is the Power 4 plus the Big East in this case in basketball. Of those players on senior night this week, there were 22 players combined from all of those that were celebrating senior night at the same school that they started at.
Oof. Yeah.
One school, senior night, guys. 22. There was only one player in the SEC celebrating senior night that had been at only one school. It was a guard at Mississippi State, which, by the way, if you're any place, Starkville is the place you're going to stick around. Is it Starkville, Mississippi is the place you're going to stick around? Is an interesting choice, but hey, I honor him. At least he did it. It's just more than any other of the college sports, the portal has really damaged college basketball. There's everybody's everywhere. You don't know who's on whose team year to year. It really is wild. And more so than football because the rosters are so short. You can turn over 10 or 12 guys every year, where you're getting different people in there. So it's kind of the reason why I think some of the attention on it has gone down here in recent years, because
Yeah.
there isn't the, when you say Duke, North Carolina is playing tonight, you used to be able to say
These
that's
three
going to be
guys and these four
Wojo and
guys.
Battier versus these guys,
Yeah.
and you just have no idea who any of these guys are because they haven't been there.
It only works.
Um,
It only works when there's a Boozer kid on Duke. That one I know.
right,
Cam
right.
Boozer's all right.
If there's legacy players, then you know. But other than that, it's just guys rotating in and out, and it's tough to kind of build the continuity and the excitement for some of these matchups, other than just having the name of the school.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's come down to. And I think that's why college basketball in the last 3 or 4 years has kind of regressed to be more regional than more national, because at this point, without having any skin in the game, you're not tuning in for anything anymore to see those big player matchups. You're tuning in for brands, not
Yep.
players and teams per se. Last thing I'll leave you on, and it's something that I texted you, full circle back to the Sabres here.
Okay.
I came up with 4 names here. Can you think of another situation where a guy disappeared and everything good happened, like Kevin Adams? Because like this guy must suck, and he must be super duper sad, because he disappeared and they have literally turned into the best team in the NHL. And when he was there, they were the worst team in the NHL,
Yeah.
getting laughed at.
Yeah.
And now they're like 25-7 or something ridiculous.
And until this
that
weekend, it
time
was all the
period,
same people.
Right. And my other list was obviously Wally Pipp. I mean,
Okay.
there's a reason why
We still know his
phrase
name.
getting Wally pipped.
Yep.
Right. Didn't it happen with Dungy? Didn't he get close in Tampa, and then they
And
fired
Gruden
him?
came in.
He went to the Colts. Gruden came in and immediately took him to the Super Bowl.
But then things got good with the Colts and Dungy too, so I don't think we can blame Dungy there.
Dungy eventually got one because he had Peyton Manning.
Right.
Tiki Barber just decided to retire, talked all kinds of crap on his way out about how Eli Manning was a joke. And then the next year, they won the Super Bowl by beating the undefeated New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And it just would appear like, wow, if Tiki just left and we were fine. Everything
See,
was
that's
great.
funny. I don't even, because I don't follow the Giants like you do. I just would have assumed he was on the roster when they won. Like I didn't even realize that one.
No,
so
he decided to retire early.
Okay.
And then because he had a burgeoning career in media, he wanted to do stuff on CBS.
Yeah.
And then got talked crap, said Eli's leadership is a joke. Then Eli led them winning road games the entire playoffs to the Super Bowl,
And then they beat the
where
Patriots.
he beat the undefeated Tom Brady-led New England Patriots, and then Tiki Barber was fired from his media job for having an affair with an intern on his pregnant wife.
Wow.
So, things for the Giants, like he left, and instantly Eli Manning was like, "Nah, I've got us win a Super Bowl. I'm good, thanks."
Wow. Yeah.
And the other name, and nothing bad, but Buck Showalter got fired when he probably shouldn't have, just because of Steinbrenner being Steinbrenner.
Yeah.
He got fired the season before '96.
Yeah. And there's Torrey, and then
And Torrey comes in and ends up going to the Hall of Fame and winning 5 rings with the Yankees and going to 8 or 9 World Series. So Showalter, not his fault. He basically built that team, but was removed, and then they immediately went on the run. I don't blame him. Like you can't blame him for them losing to the Mariners in that series, but he left, and then they went on that generational dynastic run.
Yeah.
and now Kevin Adams left, and they're the best team in hockey after being consistently the worst team in hockey. Like, he's the only thing that's changed.
Right.
Like these other situations, I can't remember too many other situations like that, especially in season.
Do you think he's
Like, all
watching
these
the
other
games?
moves are not.
Did he watch that game yesterday? Like, is he doing
that's
that?
an interesting question.
I just keep picturing him every night the Sabres play, sitting, drinking alone. And I don't even know Kevin Adams, so it's not to imply anything, but like, this is what I picture. And then the game ends, and then he fires a whiskey bottle through his television. Then he wakes up in the morning and goes to buy another television, and then sets it up, and then watches another game, and then throws a whiskey bottle through it. Like, that's what I'm picturing this whole time.
Right. Or is he just like, I gotta, he's just deep in Netflix, like he's on Love Island. Like, is he just going deep into something, like, is he trying to just binge stuff and forget
Or learning to
about life
crochet.
for a while? Right. Yeah. Is he
Puzzles. Just do 1,000-piece puzzles.
is he on the Great British Baking Show binge? Where he's just like, at this point, not watching the game. Like, if there's a Sabres game on, he's trying to learn how to make tarts.
Right.
I don't know, but it's a wild turn that I don't think has very many parallels.
No,
sports.
This is the worst one. Like, all the ones you just named, I think this is the worst one. Especially if it keeps going. But as of right now,
they just go on to win. This is crazy.
This is unbelievable. I mean, he's still, like, if you're a different organization and this team wins the cup, are you hiring him because he built it? Because he did, but he had to leave for it to work. Like, I don't know. It is. I'm going to call it unprecedented, because all those other ones, like, I get how you're connecting them, but this is absolutely insane. And I don't know if he should feel good or bad. I mean, he's got to have the conflicting emotions about all of this. Like, I told you, these guys, this is going to work. There's chemistry there. I didn't know I had to leave. Like, I don't get it, but I like it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic psychological study that should be done on this situation. Honestly, like, players.
I want someone to interview him. I don't want it to be me. But I want someone to talk to him.
I want it to be you.
You do want it to be me? Should we seek him out?
Yeah. What do I want, somebody else to interview him? No, I want you to interview him.
I feel it feels mean. It feels mean to even try to talk to him right now. But I would come at it with the approach of, you put this team together. How you feeling, man? Right?
Right. That's
yeah. Maybe I would be.
And then,
maybe I would be the right person.
Psychologically for him, does he blame himself? Like, is even he saying, like, man, I'm the worst?
How could he?
Because they got rid of me and they're great. And maybe, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
I don't
it's
understand.
one of those things where you get dumped and you're like, maybe it was me. You look back and all of your ex-girlfriends are incredibly successful. And you start to think, ooh, maybe I was the problem.
Yeah.
What happened? And then you have to start digging into it. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating psychological study between not just the organization in general, but then also on the after effects on Kevin, because it's got to be wild.
I wonder if this is payback for him being on. He's from here, but then he was on that Hurricanes team.
Yeah. Ooh. Karma.
There's so much to dig into here. The chat likes the idea. Got a get Adams on the show with a bunch of hand claps written in there from Nick. I don't know. Maybe. If I knew him at all, I don't.
We can.
I'm sure I could find him.
You could do like an Adam May thing and just be Dr. Phil.
Oh.
Right. What's his name? The guy
Ray.
That's always on Kill Tony. Adam Ray.
Yep.
Not May. Adam Ray. We could get him on like a whole Oprah thing. You could don't do Oprah.
Right. I won't do Oprah.
You could do
problematic.
Yeah, don't dress up as Oprah.
Nope.
Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You could try to take it that, but yeah, he becomes. Let's say they end up winning the cup. I think he becomes the most fascinating figure in the history of Buffalo sports.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's like
Right. Do we build a
he assembled
statue?
a team that finally won a cup, and it took somebody going in and saying, "You can't be here anymore. You are fired," for it to work. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
I thought of another parallel, kind of.
Okay.
Mark Jackson, Golden State Warriors.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind
Yes, that's
it's
a very
kind of
good
that.
one.
And then he's been on TV ever since. And like, how does
Had
he
the
talk?
pieces.
All of it. It was
and then
all
left
there.
right before they exploded.
Right. It's
Yeah.
close. It's close.
Steve Kerr becomes a genius.
Right.
The second after, and Mark Jackson hasn't been given another opportunity since. I don't believe.
No, he's just on television. And
every time the Knicks change a coach, I always hear, you always hear Stephen A saying, Mark Jackson,
right,
from New York City, he's coming back. They should bring him back. This brother's been so good. He started the Warriors. It's like no one remembers that. It's Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But took me.
I like that comp as well.
You gave me 4 other ones, and it took me that long to think of one that I could use there. Okay, I have one final Netflix-related question for you, and then you can go. Have you been tempted by or watched His and Hers? Are you familiar with it? His and Hers. It's a mini series, if you will. 6 episodes. Each episode's like 43 minutes long. And I've watched it over the course of the last few nights. I finished it yesterday. And I recommend it. It's not, it's a little bit less, it's got a little bit of chick flick to it not chick flick. Movies that I tend to watch and shows that I tend to watch are usually like there's an edge and it's not glossy Hollywood. I can't convince my wife to watch it. I think my wife could watch this because there's almost like Shonda Rhimes had something. She didn't, but it's almost like she had something to do with it. But it's a like murder mystery. The guy is a cop. His wife is a reporter, and murder in a small town. And it's kind of Scream. It's kind of Heathers. But try it. I recommend everyone try it. And you'll know one episode in whether you want to stick with it or not. I did, and I recommend it. So that's, if you don't know it, check it out. It's that John Bernthal, the guy that was the main cop in We Own the City.
Yeah. Is his wife a reporter?
His wife's a reporter.
Okay, I have seen that show on there. I have not. I believe my wife has watched it.
Fuller told me to watch it. I watched it. Now I'm telling you to watch it. You should watch it.
Okay, all right.
It's fun.
I'm going to bring to you a series that I just discovered this weekend.
Okay.
It is a documentary series on HBO, and it feels like somebody was hanging out with us on one of these trips. Okay. And took an idea that we absolutely would have had.
Okay.
In our room late at night watching TV. I've only seen one episode, but it's called Neighbors.
Okay.
They just went to Florida and they follow neighbors in disputes.
Oh my God.
With each other. And it's crazy people from Florida.
Yeah.
That hate their neighbors.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
This is like one episode your tree is coming over my fence and you got to stay in this side of it, like that kind of stuff. And don't blow off fireworks. You're scaring my dog and your dog's chained outside like that. All right.
And it shows how it has quickly escalated to being madness from everybody. The one that I saw was neighbors for like 20 years. These 2 women, very good friends.
Okay.
Excellent friends. And then there was a dispute over like a foot of land between them with like a fence.
Okay. And now fences, always fences.
And now there's, one of them wanted to put small shrubs down the side. So the other one comes out and says, that's my land. And she says, no, it's not. We had the survey done. This is my land. So then the other one picks up the bushes and slams them on the ground and knocks everything over. And then someone's dog wanders onto the other. So she calls the cops because the other neighbor now is trespassing when really the dog has known this person for the last 10 years and they've been friends, but now doesn't know that they're not friends anymore.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So
you can't really explain that to a dog.
Right. You follow them to court, and now they're in court, and you just see the judge who is like, this is the 6th time that I've seen you do this. And they talk to him.
The whole thing sounds like a prequel to the People's Court. Like it's the
right. Only after the People's Court, the cameras follow him home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see him outside, and they're like outside the courtroom, and the one guy is like, I got to be honest. The only way this dispute is probably ever going to end is one of us is going to die. And the other guy is just like exhausted.
How many episodes?
Like, I saw episode 3.
Oh, okay. You didn't start at the beginning.
So no, I just tuned upon. I saw What Is Neighbors, and I saw it was like a 35-minute show.
I actually did.
Tuned on, and then it was crazy people going back and forth. My son comes into the room, says, "What is this?" I explain what the thing says on info on the screen.
Yeah. And
then he says, "What is this, Florida?" And right after he said it, it's the end of the episode where they zoom out and they show you the state of Florida.
That's amazing.
And I said, "Yeah, well, yeah, of course, it's Florida."
Oh, that's good. I did stumble across this, and I saw Neighbors, and I thought it was that Seth Rogen, Zac Efron movie.
Film. Right. No.
I just thought it was that, and I've seen it, and I liked it. It was pretty good, but I just bypassed it.
That's a good movie. But
I will seek it out.
This is half hour. I think it was a half hour. Might have been 40 minutes. I don't know.
Perfect.
Bite size where they take two neighbor situations, and they follow it. The other one, I didn't see the start of the other one, where it was the 2 guys, but it was, the one guy's like, the guy just won't leave me alone, and then the other guy's like, one of us is going to have to die. That's the only way this is. That's the only way this is going to stop.
All right, I'll tune in. You watch His and Hers. I'll watch Neighbors. When we'll talk soon.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, man.
See you.
All right. Bye. There's Scott Wilson. That's the end of episode 271 of Riter Radio. Thanks to him. Thanks to you for listening, following, subscribing, liking, sharing, doing all the things that you do. Much appreciated. You're the best. So is Scott. Bye.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?